Hello, you two. Today I'm once again joined by the lovely Christian von Carmian.
Hello.
Hello. And today, Christian, how many arms does the Emperor have?
It depends on the particular day. You're quite right. Today it's 4 arms. The Emperor has 4 arms. They're beautiful. They're symmetrical. 2 of them have 3 claws. 2 of them are much more like hands with long fingies.
Yeah, today we're here talking about Genestealer cults. So, people who have seen you on my channel before know that you played Warhammer for quite a long time. How long have you played Genestealer cults for, Christian?
That's an interesting one. See, I did play some Genestealer cult around 2nd edition because they had an army of sorts around 2nd edition. It was Genestealers, it was some metal hybrids, and then also plastic hybrids. In one of the expansions to Space Hulk, where you got some Dark Angels, there was also some Genestealer cult hybrids, and they had heavy weapons. So I played some Genestealer cult then because I had them, and then the Genestealer cult didn't exist through 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition, 6th edition. I think they came back around 7th edition. Then I got them again. So I've played them for a while since then. Aberrants used to be toughness 4.
Oh, God. Some toughness things have changed a lot over the years, haven't they?
Yeah, the tougher things have actually got more toughness. Sometimes they've been given a feel no pain, and I wish they wouldn't, because feel no pain is a pain to roll. Do you feel me?
Yes, as someone who's put electro priests on the tabletop, I feel your pain. My opponents look when they look at me rolling 3 damage at a time for my 1 wound models with a feel no pain.
Yeah, metamorphs have the same thing. Feel no pain on them. I just wish they'd increase the toughness, or increase the number of wounds, or increase the armor save.
I mean, I don't know. The number of times Games Workshop has increased the number of wounds on models badly this edition has not been good.
I don't know if it's been so bad. Where have the wounds increased and it's been not good?
Catan, Knights.
Knights at least had a drop in toughness at the same time, and they got rid of their feel no pain from the detachment.
Yes. Well, I think that was when the Codex came out, wasn't it? They removed it as part of the army rule. But yeah, I guess it's more just, I always worry whenever Games Workshop tries to do that, because the number of times they've done it well this edition has been, well, let's say, on and off.
I'd give them credit, at least they stopped with a maximum of 10, which was holding them back in 9th edition and 8th edition. When we can have toughness 16 and strength 24 weapons, that works better on a comparative chart. Just, is it higher? Is it double? And so on.
Yeah, they also did away with wound caps, didn't they? Where you could only do 3 in a phase or whatever it was.
They used to have that. That was a 9th edition thing, which meant you had to attack a Catan in the psychic phase and the shooting phase and then the combat phase if you wanted to do more than 3 damage, which would regenerate.
Fun times. So, what are your general feelings about Genestealer cults, like in the past and also now as they stand in 10th edition?
In the past, well, 2nd edition, they were weird and interesting, and Games Workshop had sort of an idea of the evil factions all generally went together. So, although orcs got separated out, you also saw this in Warhammer Fantasy at this time, where you would have orcs and chaos in the same army.
Yeah.
Or same subgrouping, like they are the evil factions compared to the good factions. So in 2nd edition, you could have Genestealer cult summoning demons.
Oh.
That was perfectly reasonable.
And
there was a small variety of units, not too many units, but your basics were all there. You got your Patriarch, you got your Magos, you've got your Acolytes, and you've got your Neophytes, and your Pure Strain Genestealers.
That's what you need, I suppose, at least for a start. 7th edition probably gave you a lot more.
That gave us, like, the Primus, then the Aberrants, and Metamorphs as an idea, as well as, like, nice plastic kits.
Yeah, because they were metal in 2nd edition, I would guess.
Pretty much. Mostly metal, apart from the few plastic ones I've mentioned. The Patriarch on a throne, very interesting model.
Yeah, that was a choice.
It's a fun, interesting piece, at least. It's different to anything else.
Yeah, for sure. But I guess jumping forward from 2nd edition, because I guess it's kind of hard to compare modern rules to that far back.
Yeah. That was quite a while ago. Though there's like, okay, in the new Armageddon book that we're getting, like the campaign book, The Return of Yarrick, there's going to be like damage tables for each individual vehicle. That was a 2nd edition thing. Having a leg fall off a Wraith Lord was different to having a leg fall off a Dreadnought, slightly. But yes, now we're getting into more 7th edition things. So we had the Drought. Then we start to get, they're not amazing. They start having tactics around you don't know where we're setting up.
Mm.
And they all have deep strike. That was the main thing. This is an army of all infantry, and it's mass deep strike, and it's all over the table, pretty much wherever it needs to be to do the thing it wants to do, and that is incredibly proactive.
Yeah, so it kind of sounds like they've kind of, to a degree, kept that identity going forward. It's obviously changed a little bit over the years, but it very much feels like the same playstyle from the sound of it.
Yes, you decide where the damage is applied, you decide which units attack which enemy units, which is very important, so you don't put heavy weapons in front of infantry. You put them in front of big vehicles. You can get the specialized units in the right place. Good Genestealer cult players will do this pretty easily. Casual, very simple, brand new Genestealer cult players should also be able to do this. Hand flamers for infantry, big lasers for big tanks. Then as we move into 8th edition, now 8th edition was much more fun. I got more into Genestealer cult then. It went from, yeah, I'll get the basic units because I had a Genestealer cult force and I want to expand it with the new stuff. Then we get more sub-factions eventually. Eventually, we got the 8th edition codex that gave us sub-factions. And we had the hidden setup. So your opponent deploys. This was also more in 9th edition.
Right.
I can't actually remember whether it was part of 8th edition. It's something you'll have to check and then edit out these words that I'm saying, telling you to check.
I'll edit them out if he's wrong, or maybe I'll just keep it in and have the comments laugh at you.
No, but they won't know. How many people actually know back in 8th edition? That means they've been playing for 10 years.
Oh God, don't say that. Let alone Genestealer cults.
Yeah, yes. 10 years and playing Genestealer cult.
That's a hell of a combo.
So then we got our sub-factions. That's where we got the cults established. The 6 major cults. So you have the Hive cult is the Imperial Guard. So in the 8th edition codex, you had several Imperial Guard units ported over. So there was an infantry squad, there was the cult Sentinel, there was the cult Lehman Ross.
Right.
These were the main ones.
So it's kind of like what they tried to do with the, is it Brew Brothers detachment now?
No, I wouldn't say it's like that. I'd say it's a different way of doing it. It's more like how the Eldar and the Dark Eldar Codex are, where you have units from the other faction in the Codex book.
Right, more like Yunari currently works, I guess.
Yeah, so you got some Yunari things.
Interesting.
Then we have the Host of Ascension is sort of themed around the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor. So they're the ones that start on Gosar Quintus. Those are the ones that were first found by Chaplain Cassius in the brilliant box game Overkill. Wonderful name.
That's a hell of a name.
Which is also the box that got me into Deathwatch.
Is that where they started?
Because Kill Team Cassius is so cool. Very cool.
Cassius is very cool.
Yes, so this is the team that found the first Genestealer cult, so we're talking pretty late into the timeline of the 41st millennium. It's Hive Fleet Behemoth, it's like 745 in the 41st millennium. That's not a lot of time left for the Genestealer cults to spread. Though this is when they're just first found. It's very mining, that's the theme. Oppressed miners rising up, which was sort of the theme back in the 80s. Well, no, the 90s. Thinking of the 80s, potentially. The rules writers have said this was not about Thatcher and fighting the miners and the unions. However, there's not necessarily how much they can divorce themselves from the times that they were writing in.
Yeah,
it's also
never made references to real life occurrences. They've never done that before.
I know. And they also then went, okay, this film's Alien? They're really cool. We should just do that. And so the very first Genestealers, which were separate to the Tyranids, they had like tentacle mouths, more like a sucker worm with tentacle mouths. If you look up the first Genestealers, the ones?
Yeah. They always reminded me of the... Did you ever watch Doctor Who? Do you remember the Ood?
Yes. You're thinking wrong tentacle mouths.
Wrong tentacle mouths, shit, okay.
No, so it's not meant to be the Ood. Let me find it for you. I'm thinking like the first edition Genestealer.
Oh, I won't remember that then. Good lord.
Yeah. So this thing. But all your basics of the Genestealer are there. But like the alien from Aliens, because Games Workshop does homages and then it does, I'm just going to take this thing and put it in my sci-fi game. It impregnated humans and then it created more Genestealers and the human was killed in the process. Later on, we change that. Then we have the Generations.
Yes. I remember
Generations are fun.
Yeah, I remember seeing the lore behind that part, probably through like Depth's Ridiculous or something like that. It's like they have different mutations and they change throughout the generations, don't they?
Yes. So you start with you start with the Genestealer, the pure strain Genestealer. That will infect a human. The first human of that, well, we'll say human. We'll say human. The first child of that human is a first generation hybrid. Further children they have are human. They're just part of the brood mind, and those are some elements of the brood brothers. At the start of my most recent brood brothers video, I went through the lore of what is a brood brother, and there are many different ways you can be a brood brother. So a first generation acolyte, they're going to have 3 arms usually, because this is an unstable genus, but usually we're talking 3 arms, very Genestealer cult looking. They've got elements of humanity, but it's Genestealer cult feet, 1 claw. The second generation has a bit more shapely skull, but it's still quite an elongated skull. They'll have 3 arms and have more human-looking feet, but we're still in the acolyte phase. Then the third generation, so this would be the child of a second generation acolyte and a human of the part of the brood mind, so they've been hypnotized by a Genestealer cult, or they're a sort of willing convert, but probably not a willing convert. You can't really look at an acolyte and think, oh yeah, I'm going to get me some.
Oh no.
So a third generation is looking a lot more human. They're going to have 2 arms. They'll be long-fingered hands. Maybe a bit like the side arms of the Genestealers, the pure strain Genestealers, but they'll look kind of human. Kind of human. And then their children are the bald 4th generation that look almost human.
Yes. Okay, interesting. So
those are your generations.
I planned generations in the making, as it were.
Exactly. Although it is mentioned in some of the books that gestation is like 6 months rather than 9 months, so you can be produced faster.
So speed
I don't
is
think
of
there's
the
any
essence.
yeah, well, kind of. I don't think there's any cult that really likes to mess around with that, although there's the Twisted Helix. That's a cult that started by saying, okay, we've got these really weird alien DNA. What if we just put that in ourselves and see what happens?
Oh no.
Yeah, it was a almost deliberate way of getting a Genestealer cult, but they immediately became part of the hive mind. Although the brood mind is a separate thing, it's an offshoot of the hive mind, but you're in part under the sway of the Tyranids.
Right.
The cult of the Pauper Princes, they have a lot of warriors, acolytes, but they're the idea of like the working classes rising up. It's the shanty towns, it's the poorest people. I think people know what the working class is, but it might have different meanings around the world. So poor people that do the jobs.
I'm just imagining.
But they care about the leaders.
I'm just imagining that clip of Jeff Goldblum saying we don't call them slaves. They're the workers with jobs or something like that.
I don't know the clip, but okay.
It's from one of the Thor movies, I think.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, so it must be...
Ragnarok?
I know the one. No, the one where he's fighting the Hulk.
Yeah. Working class is definitely a thing that a lot of people will be familiar with. Actually, the one I caught onto there was pauper, because that's the term I'm familiar with from Magic the Gathering. That's the name of one of the formats, isn't it?
It just means poor person, generally. And they really love their leaders, though. This is very much the cult that throws their waves of followers against the enemy and jump in and take a bullet for the Primus and the Patriarch and the Magos. The Primus was a character that was added in 7th edition. They didn't exist before then. It was just the Magos and the Patriarch.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of characters now, isn't there?
Oh, so many characters. Yeah.
If you asked me to name them all, I wouldn't be able to, I'll be honest. The one I recognise the most is often is it the Kellamorph, the one with the multiple guns?
Yep. Yeah. Fun theme, interesting theme. We'll get on to the bigger problems.
Yeah. So
the Rusted Claw is the nomadic style, which is a lot about...
Is it like bikes?
Like decay. It's decay. It's things get worse.
Oh.
And so... they live and they're hardy, and they were a very popular cult in 9th edition because they had sub-faction rules about endurance. They got to ignore a point of armor penetration, which when you have a 5+ save, it's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I guess like Recon Guard now, isn't it? to a degree.
Yes, very much so. And they did a lot of recon. Again, there's a rule you'll have to check. In 9th edition, did they have a rule that let them ignore point of armor penetration?
Oh, God.
Do it while you're editing. It's fine.
I'll do it in post. Here's me like staring at the editing in future, being like, Astra, why did you ask yourself to do this?
Just do the editing. It's fine.
It's fine. Okay.
Right. Have we gone through all the cults now? I think there's one missing.
No.
There's a final one, which is my favorite one, the Bladed Cog, which is epitomized as taking over the AdMech stuff.
Oh, no.
So it's very AdMech themed.
Yeah.
You've got the Genestealer cult worm symbol within the bigger cog.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's a different kind of endurance. They had a 6+ invulnerable save, which saved me quite a lot of the time. And then in 9th edition, they got longer range guns and more specialized enhancements, as was part of it then. Okay, I'm done talking about the cults. Ask your question.
No, let's talk about more cults.
There are many more cults, but those are the major ones. Those are the major ones.
There's not a bladed cog style thing now, is there? To my knowledge.
Currently not, no. That's the one major one that's missing from the current detachments.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, AdMech also still doesn't have their Knights detachment.
Oh, well.
Yeah, they've done a lot less soupy stuff as of late, I think. I mean, there's still
there's the Knight detachment that has AdMech in it.
Oh, that one just
makes
me sad.
Is that not the same?
It's less that it's not the same, it's that they like nerfed it when it came out, because originally you could use the AdMech army rule on the AdMech models, and then they said, no, they're not allowed to do that. But Knights still can when you play them in other armies.
Yes.
Which is...
I don't think Knights will get their army rule.
Well, the army rule in that case is the super heavy warfare rules.
Right, okay, that's fine.
So they still get those. Obviously, you wouldn't get Bondsman because you can't take a big knight and multiple small knights.
There is that. It's also like... it usually says army rules. If your army faction is Imperial Knights, then you get the deeds.
Yes, but the AdMech army rule, when this happened, didn't actually say that. It didn't have...
It just said these models have this rule.
Yes, and they still have the keyword on the data sheet in the Knights Codex when you played them.
I see.
Which is very strange. Anyway, so Genestealer cults. How do you feel about Genestealer cults in 10th edition?
I mean, I really like them. They're a really fun army to play. They were somewhat overpowered, very overpowered at the start of the edition. There were just so many incredibly good combos that were very easy to use. Infiltrate, an aberrant and abominant unit, go smash the enemy, or hold up the enemy, strike with neophytes and acolytes, and you'll tunnel crawl the acolytes so they can use their demo charges, which were strength 12 and silly damage. You'll have a Primus with them so you can reroll all the hit rolls. The neophytes will use a stratagem that increases the armor penetration of all their shots. Then you can add a Ridge Runner on top of that, so you got AP -2 auto guns, AP -2 flamers, and it's just there, attacking the exact unit it needs to. You're killing Imperial Guardsmen by the dozen, because it goes straight through their armor. And it was Host of Ascension, or Ascension Day as it was called, so it ignores cover as well, so cover isn't giving you an armor save. And sustained hits.
Was this around the same time as Eldar was very good at the earlier start of the edition? Yes. Okay.
So that was like the pairing.
Yeah.
The Eldar was very fast. The Genestealer cult could easily kill a toughness 3 body, but the Eldar could take out the blip tokens that were the way we resurrected. The other important combo was the bikes. They used to do their demolition run, which is kind of like the grenade stratagem, every time the unit moved. So you would have them reactive move, and you would have them... one of the enhancements let you move after shooting.
We'll talk about the army rule in a second, but I remember I saw a video recently from someone talking about the initial version of it. Wasn't it when a unit died on a 4+, you got it back or something? But then the battle line units added like 3 to the roll or something originally?
That is correct.
Hooray, I remember the thing.
That meant whenever you lost a unit, half a chance of getting the unit back. That's very swingy for an army rule. Yes. Except you got the +3 for battle line. So people weren't taking many aberrants and trucks. They weren't coming in. It was just throw loads of neophytes in, throw loads of acolytes in. You never saw metamorphs. and you would roll a dice, and it fails on a 1, because that's only a rule for like hit rolls and save rolls.
And psychic abilities for some reason.
Some of them, sometimes, if it says so. So. But yes, roll a dice, add 3. I rolled a 1. Oh, plus 3. It's a 4. I get my unit back.
Yeah, because I imagine in that scenario, you just fill a list and go, okay, so this is 120 acolytes. I'm going to walk them all towards you. Oh, you killed them all? Oh, they're all back.
Yeah. The issue then was you had to come from the blip tokens.
Yes.
So you'd put down a token, and you would only essentially rapid ingress onto that in the enemy turn. If the enemy could get within 9 inches of it, it was destroyed, and so that's 1 fewer unit you can return to the field. So if the enemy had control of the board and they kept pushing you, then there would be no space for the tokens. They could quickly get to the tokens in their movement phase, wipe them out. You lost the game. So a lot of the units were highly priced for what they could do.
Yeah, because I guess you're pricing in the fact that they can respawn at that point, aren't you?
Yeah, so it's like a third higher points than you would have for like a toughness 3 or toughness 4 guy with a 5+ save. However, it was really strong. Yes. Some games, just generally with the army rule, sometimes I would get everything back, and I'm using 3,000 points in a 2,000 point game. Other times I roll terribly, get nothing back. And so I just had a very overcosted army.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those mechanics where they changed several times over the edition, didn't it?
Oh, so many times. I think runs 5 or 6 times it changed.
Lord.
Which is a crazy number of times.
I'm sure we can rattle through what changed in a second, but I guess
I'm not going to go through all the lists.
Not all of them, but the important
major
ones.
Major changes, yeah.
But I guess the big thought there is that initial version of it just doesn't necessarily feel good for either player, because someone's going to feel bad based on the roll.
Yes. It's not great based on that. So when we got the Codex, which was the biggest major change, it was then on a 5+, and if the unit died in the first or second battle round, you get to add 1. Doesn't matter if it's battle line or not. So now there's no battle line bonus. You have almost half a chance, but really closer to a third chance.
Yes.
That was just too weak.
Yeah, that seems a lot worse. Did they decrease the points when the Codex came out?
No, they didn't.
Ah.
So when the Codex came out, it was not a very strong Codex.
Ew.
And as this came out at the same time as Imperial Agents and Battle Sisters, this was a very busy month for me. Then there was the idea that there was 2 writing teams. The good one did Battle Sisters with the Bringers of Flame. The bad one did the Genestealer cult and made the army rule worse, but to a point where it's incredibly hard to play.
They also forgot one for the Agents Codex.
Well, you could say that was just the scraps of the team. The interns were left with that.
Oh. Okay.
Then you got awkward things like, yes, this Rhino can fit any 12 models. Do you remember that from the Imperial Agents Codex?
Yes, you could, what's the term? The Russian doll stack.
Matryoshka dolls.
Matryoshka dolls, that's the word, thank you. Yeah, that was...
Yes, Rhino within a Rhino that disembarks from a Rhino that disembarks the kill team.
That disembarks the Corvus Blackstar, obviously.
Well, you could.
Yeah, that was certainly a choice. So when did the Cult Ambush rule turn into what it is now? Was that soon after the Codex, or was that...
No.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Of course it wasn't.
So that Codex came out in summer 2024.
Oh, that feels so long
and
ago.
I think it would be... So it was December 2024. It was Grotmus.
Yes,
that was when we got Cult Ambush version 5.
Good lord.
Which is almost unchanged. So every unit has a number of resurgence points. When the unit is destroyed, you choose to spend that many resurgence points to bring the unit back.
Yeah, I think it's... I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it seems like a step in the right direction.
It's better for a lot of reasons. It's not random whether or not you have an army rule. It's not insanely overpowered because there is a cap. And it has tactical nuance to it. So you lose a unit, you're like, I don't need another unit right now. I'm not spending my resurgence points on them. Or you pre-plan into your army list, which is something I recommend people do, which units you can or which units you definitely will bring back. 2 resurgence points for 5 pure strain Genestealers. They're going to die first. You're going to bring them back first.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then they wait in reserves. They're not destroyed as some people think they are at the end of turn 3. That only applies to units that started the game in reserves. And Cult Ambush is its own special pocket dimension of reserves.
Yeah, and I guess that there's also other rules where you pick a unit up, they usually stipulate you have to drop back down next turn. This doesn't have that, does it?
No. And generally, that's not something you see in the Genestealer cult.
Oh, that makes sense.
I guess think you get it in like Deathwatch or the Imperial Agents Ordo Xenos detachment. Then it says you take them off the board, you put them back on next turn.
Yes, the teleportarium strat, I think it is.
Yes.
I guess my only criticism of this as an army rule is it does feel a little bad that there's nothing in the army rule here that encourages you to play any of the vehicles. Which, to a degree, I get it. It's very much an infantry-focused army, but it's a shame that you functionally don't get any buffs to the vehicles from being in this.
No, you're right. You're right. And that was a big problem for the Host of Ascension. You wouldn't take vehicles because it's about deep strike. We all have deep strike. All the infantry has deep strike. What major benefit are you getting from the vehicles? So unless the vehicles are doing something specific for the army, you don't need the vehicles.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen... Is it the Rock Grinder on the table? I've been playing against Genestealer a couple of times this edition, but I don't know if I've ever seen that model.
There is one detachment where you will play it. Maybe two. Maybe you can do it in the Biosanctuary Brood Search. Otherwise, it's Outlander Claw only.
So it's a bit of a shame.
So let's talk about the detachments then, unless you want to do a different thing.
No, I guess my last note on this is I think it's nice that individual model squad sizes have different points cost associated with them. It means there's a balancing lever they can pull here when they need to.
And they have changed it many, many times, and people don't notice the change because it's changing one number that's really small on a picture, and now it's red, and you don't notice it. So they've changed the bikes, and after they changed the bikes, the number of resurgence points they were, suddenly people went, oh wait, bikes are good. I'm going to take loads of bikes. I'm fine with one squad usually. Of course, more in the Outlander Claw, but one squad will do me fine. I'm more of a pure strain person, and if it's a choice between an infiltrating unit that moves really fast or a scouting unit that moves really fast, I'm usually going to take the army's namesake.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think there's also an element of, I'm sure when you're list building, you can probably plan out the permutations of combinations of 10 if you're playing Strike Force that you will plan to have die.
That's something you should do.
Yeah. That's an interesting dynamic to have, so I do enjoy that part of it. I don't really necessarily have any other thoughts other than... I mean, the cult ambush tokens are neat. I feel like are they less important now
almost superfluous.
Yeah.
Because they also did that major change in version 5 where you are just in reserves. So your units are not destroyed if the cult ambush token is taken off. You've spent your points, your resurgence points. It would be weird to be like, I've spent my points, I put this on the table. Oh, you knocked out my blip. So now I don't get my unit. Instead, you can deep strike.
Yeah.
So it only applies to the units that can deep strike, and then also the bikes. And they haven't updated the bikes unit rule, so you have to come on from reserves, but you also have to come on from a cult ambush token.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So even if you outflank, which is something you can, in theory, do, as it is a regular reserve, sort of, asterisk, cult ambush is regular reserves, but you need to also have the ambush marker whether you come in your turn or the enemy turn. That wasn't updated. I think that's an oversight. So you just put your cult ambush tokens near the edge of the board. Don't use them for other units and use them for the bikes.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's move on to detachments. I think the obvious first one to talk about here is probably Host of Ascension. This was the index one you said earlier?
More or less. The Ascension Day was slightly different, had a few different stratagems. There was a heroic save for the characters. Yeah, you didn't really use that one ever as a stratagem. But mostly, the Host of Ascension was Ascension Day. Did the same sort of thing. It's utilizing Deep Strike. You arrive from reserves. You get sustained hits and ignore cover. So it's a shooting detachment. Mostly. That benefit lasts until the end of your next fight phase.
Ooh.
So if you were to rapid ingress and turn up in the enemy turn, it's the enemy's movement phase and the shooting phase. So if they charge you with Overwatch, you get sustained hits then. And then the enemy fight phase, you'll still get it. And then through into your shooting phase, you still get it. And then you have your fight phase after that. you lose sustained hits and ignore cover.
I didn't actually know it lasted that long. That's an interesting way to use it. Not one I've seen
Yes.
that much, but
Gotta check the wording of all of these.
yeah. I've read the Genestealer Cult Codex so many times. I don't own that codex. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Hey, not many people do. I would be totally honest in saying I bought the Genestealer Cult Codex. Yes, I have it and use it all the time. The rules have changed, weeks after the initial version in the Codex. We got our newest version of that in like September, and the book came out in July.
Yeah,
so they changed the army rule, they changed the points, they changed some of the unit rules. It's like metamorphs. Yeah, that got changed.
It's about as much of a paperweight as the AdMech Codex is at this point, isn't it?
Probably. I haven't played many AdMech this edition until Belisarius Call got his Oath of Moment rule.
Yeah.
Then a couple more started appearing.
Yeah, I mean, both that army and this army, I know on the Walk-On download section, have like a solid page to page and a half worth of changes. It's quite silly. But yeah, so Host of Ascension, anything you want to particularly highlight in this detachment that you think is interesting? I know that there was points at which this was very strong and it won some big events.
This was strong when so this would be 2025, like summer 2025, for about 3 to 6 months, whenever Knights were strong and Death Guard were strong, because those are very tough armies. So being able to drop in, have sustained hits using one of the enhancements or characters, having lethal hits as well on your ranged attacks, and then getting criticals on 5s, and then using a Primus to get full rerolls, you could take out these heavy armies that were otherwise the thing that people struggled against. And you have enough units to outscore them if killing them doesn't work. It's perhaps the detachment that works best with my idea of how to play Genestealer Cult. I mean, it's not my most fun detachment, but it's the one that I think I have the most success with.
Yeah,
it's pure deep strike and nonsense and murder and stuff.
It's definitely very effective in what it does. There were a few elements in this that got nerfed, right? Was it the Primus that got nerfed?
So many. So the Primus was changed from fully rolls to hit to +1 to hit. The stratagem that lets you have critical 5s is now 2 command points, and it's a very command point hungry detachment, because you're saving up for this big turn 2 strike and then turn 3 strike, and suddenly it's costing you 4 command points to do all the things you want to do. You haven't got 4 command points.
Does this army have CP generation?
You can with some kind of acolyte on an objective on a 4+, you get a command point.
Yay.
It's a maybe.
Sometimes. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And you got the Nexus, who is the character that gives you command points, gives you stratagems for 1 command point fewer. It's a weird thing to have on him. I think it should be on the Primus, and then the Nexus is the one that redeploys units, but never mind. Yes. It's still quite strong. It's just not the one that people use as much because they saw the heavy nerfs and were like, well, I'm not going to play it then.
Yeah, this felt like the one that the few times I did run into Genestealer Cults was the one I ran into. I know, was it Innes Wilson had some big success with it around the time you were talking about? And then I think after that it got nerfed.
I don't know. I don't necessarily follow what other people are doing at tournaments. I do my own thing and that seems to work, and my audience seems to recognize that the things I say work for them.
No, that's fair. Okay. So any final thoughts on Host of Ascension before we move on to the next one?
I mean, I have a playlist I should mention, which is going to be completed soon, which has every single Genestealer Cult detachment in it, with like a full breakdown of how to play it and how to play it well, and example army lists. So it's something, I'll give you the link.
Yeah, sure.
And then you can put that at the end.
Yeah, I can check in the description as well if you want. That works.
That is appreciated.
Okay, detachment number 2, Xenocree Congregation.
This is the fun one.
I don't even know what this does.
This is the Advance and Charge detachment.
Oh, it's speed. Okay.
It's a horde of infantry advancing and charging at the things that you want to advance and charge at. There's a good potential for first turn charges. You would have a truck, you scout with metamorphs, you disembark, you move and advance and charge the enemy. And with another stratagem, you can also shoot.
Does the truck then have a assault ramp?
No, but it's scouted.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty quick, though. Okay.
Yeah, so you're moving 6 inch scout, then 3 inch disembark. And the truck does its own thing.
That's not bad. I don't know if I've ever seen this one in person, but it looks interesting.
It's rarely played. It's very difficult to play, and the way to play it is a tide of acolytes and metamorphs, and more recently I've found neophytes. So its detachment rule gives you rerolls on the charge for those units, and rerolls to advance rolls for those units, as long as they have a character in the unit. Any character, but then you get the rerolls. And then the characters that specialize in the detachment are the Primus, the Magos, and the Icon Ward, like the leading top tier characters that aren't the Patriarch. They get a 3+ feel no pain as long as they're leading a unit. So that's to like counter precision. This is the Pauper Prince's idea.
Yes.
So you're not getting shot. Someone's going to jump in the way.
None of the characters have like an overchargeable gun, do they? To abuse that?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
There's the Benefictus, but they don't get the 3+ feel no pain.
Right, because they're not like one of the listed ones. Okay.
Yes.
I think
yes.
Whenever I see a detachment like this, my immediate thought is this feels like it's just speed and it doesn't provide you the damage output you necessarily need to make it work. I'm not that familiar with the data sheets that are
a lot of problems with that. So mainly the tactic is hold the enemy in place and use your numbers to score victory points. You have got Frenzied Devotion, which is a wonderful stratagem. You get +1 to the attacks and weapon skill for your acolytes, your metamorphs, or your neophytes. You also get Hazardous.
That's quite funny.
But I always like to have my mining tools in some way to have 3 attacks.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. They're not the drills, they're like buzzsaw things they hold, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the drills and the saws.
I couldn't tell you what the weapon profile of that was if I tried, I'd be honest.
It's anti-vehicle.
Oh, that's fun.
Anti-vehicle 4+, strength 5, damage 3. When the Codex came out, the aberrants were no longer damage 3, so this is where we get the damage 3.
Right. I can't even find it on my Wikipedia. That's all right. I'll take your word for it.
So it's a horde. It doesn't necessarily do damage, and this is the really fun way to play because you have so many mechanics to fail your charges. Oh, look, I can reroll my charge in 3 different ways. Well, you only get 1 of them because rerolls only apply once, and you'll still fail your charge. So don't ever arrive from a deep strike and reroll a 9-inch charge because you'll still fail it.
Yeah, having played a bunch of different armies, I feel like the more I see these kinds of rules, the more I feel like +1 or +2 to charge is often better than re-rolling charges, because quite often if you need the re-roll charge, you'll just spend a CP on it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is how statistics work. You can always check the statistics.
Okay. Next one, we have Biostatic Brood Surge. I am familiar with this one. This is what some people call, is it Muscle Beach? Some people call this?
Yes, because it's about the aberrants. This one, I have, of course, had success with it. I do it as more of a pure strain detachment rather than an aberrant detachment, because it makes your pure strains, your aberrants, and any unit joined by the Biophagus better. And then you get +1 to your charge rolls and 1 more attack if you charge. So Biophagus with acolytes with mining tools, those mining tools now have 3 attacks, because it has the Biophagus keyword.
Right.
Unfortunately, this is also how it works with like the characters, the Patriarch and the Abominant. They don't get the detachment keyword and abilities unless they're leading those units.
Because it says unit. Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, because it's aberrants or pure strain Genestealers. It doesn't say Patriarch or Abominant, and they don't have those keywords. The stratagems are terrible.
Really?
Generally. You can use them. There's some, there's +1 to wound against monsters and vehicles. There's simulated biosurge, so you can have up to +3 to the charge roll, depending on how many units you pick as the target of your charge.
Wait,
that one might need updating for 11th edition.
Yeah, that does need updating for 11th edition, does it? How would you even do that in 11th edition? It's like, now, theoretically, you have to just roll it and then decide afterwards, don't you?
Yeah, so I guess it would be the number of units you end. You get bonuses to the movement if you're going to end in engagement range of them.
I feel like at that point, I would just take the average and just make it a 1 CP +2 charge strat.
Maybe that. Yeah. That would work. One of my favorite enhancements in the Host of Ascension is once per game, have +2 to charge. I will have a 7-inch charge from Deep Strike.
Yeah, it is.
Otherwise, nice. Like the stratagems are fine. You've got a 6-inch pile-in, which can be useful if you can set it up right. Then there's a stratagem that means that enemies within 9-inch take a leadership test, not a battle shock test, just a leadership test. And if they fail, then they're -1 to their shooting. Okay. But only if they target your scary unit.
Yeah, none of them seem that scary. These all just seem like okay straps. I think Highland Consolidate, I think people underrate a lot. Like, I've seen people do disgusting things at like high level play with that kind of strat, but
And you can,
yeah.
but you have to set it up right. You have to have the right units in the right place, and then know that this is the time to use it. So I tend to have quite a few command points left over because of how very specialized these things are. Oh, there's one you use in the fight phase when your unit dies, so it doesn't apply if they kill the unit in any of the other phases.
Oh god, because of the detachment rule, you need +4 to charge with that +3 to charge strat. That's really funny.
It is very funny. Would you like a 5-inch charge from Deep Strike? You would have to end up in combat with 3 different units.
Yeah, you'd have to be like exactly 9 inches away from 3 different units at the same time. But yeah, you definitely could do that. That's fun.
It's manageable. It's manageable. Usually it's like +2, and then you use the stratagem, and then you got +3 to the charge, and a 6-inch charge is very manageable.
Oh yeah, especially if you have CP for reroll as well.
Only reroll your charges. There's very little else you ever need to use command reroll on. Oh, I only got 1 shot for my amazing gun. Yeah, but it hits on a 5+, and you haven't hit yet, and you haven't wounded yet, and you're not on the damage roll. You could reroll the damage roll if it's going to kill something, but don't reroll the number of shots.
No, it's very rare. I feel like it's good to do that unless it's like a big tank gun, but there's not really that many of those here, is there?
Only in the Brood Brothers Auxilia.
True.
And even then, I wouldn't reroll the number of shots on like a Shadow Sword.
No, yeah. I mean, my understanding of this army competitively right now is a lot of people are leaning more towards this attachment. Now that the index one has been nerfed a bit, it seems like the second most popular from what I've seen, but I don't know why
it's popular. It's not the tournament winning one.
I couldn't tell you what it is at the moment, to be honest.
This is a pretty good detachment, and a lot of people like it because you don't need to paint as many models. There's aberrants. You can just put aberrants on. 300 points for 10 aberrants. That's much easier than painting up a lot of neophytes.
Oh, but you don't want to paint 120 neophytes?
I don't think you need that many, but it's a lot of models in a Genestealer cult army. A problem of the Genestealer cult is it's a lot of models to make a 2,000-point army. It's the same units over and over, but at the very least, these are multi-part kits with loads of options, so it's not like you're painting the same Space Marine Intercessor or Orc Boy 20 times over.
Sure. I mean, honestly, I do very much like the models of this army. From like a visual standpoint, they're very cool. I just don't know if I would want to submit myself to painting that many of them.
Understandable.
Okay.
So, aberrants are easier. This is a good, relatively good beginner detachment, and you don't need to think too hard about the stratagems. A lot of people, when they start out, they're like, Overwatch is a stratagem, Command Reroll is a stratagem, and they don't think much about any of the other stratagems. And that's okay. You can survive in this detachment without using the stratagems.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Definitely a good on point, other than maybe if there's like a vehicle detachment, I suppose might be another good way to play this army cheaper, but whether or not that's good. Anyway, speaking of vehicles, oh yeah, it is vehicles. Outlander Claw.
So this is about your mounted units, which is the Jackal Bikers and the Jackal Alphas, and the vehicles. This was the one that people took when the Codex released, because the idea behind it is boosted objective control. If we're not able to do as much damage as we were in the Index, at least we can outscore the enemy. So initially, it doubled the objective control of the bikes and the vehicles. So you're looking at objective control 6 on a vehicle.
Oh, good lord. That was
high. Pretty good. And the bikes get sticky objectives. It was changed to, as long as you're not battle shocked, you get +1. So now it's like objective control 3 or 4.
That's still not bad. It's just, I don't know,
It's sometimes enough to like outscore an enemy rhino.
Yeah. I think the issue is more that quite often adding 1 to OC as a detachment rule isn't typically that good.
No, it's not. But you also get the sticky objectives on all your mounted units, your bikers, they can scout. Yeah. That can often mean you can sticky 2 or 3 objectives in no man's land if you go first. Because at the start of your command phase, you, at the end of your command phase, you control it. It's yours forever. And then you just push the entire army into the enemy deployment zone and you keep scoring the points.
Yeah, and the bikes, are they Scout 9?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, Scout Sticky is a hell of a combo. As is Infiltrate Sticky. You can't really do that here, but...
I can't, but no, I know. So you need to be the Slaneshi people.
Yes, that was one that came to mind there.
Mm-hmm.
Any interesting strats or enhancements? Sorry.
It's kind of tough. It tries to be tough. A bit. You've got a 4+ invulnerable save on Ridge Runners or Bikers. You've got -1 to damage against your Rock Grinders or your Trucks. So they don't overlap, but different things can have different defenses. There's a reactive move, and you've got to leave the board and come back on. But you have to be within 9 inches of the table edge. You may notice that there's a new Orc detachment. I think it's a Speedwar. They don't have the within 9 inches. They just disappear and go into strategic reserves.
Yeah.
So you can get around, but the idea is you control the objectives, you outlast the opponent.
Yeah, although, how durable are the vehicles, actually?
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
So you've got to use those stratagems to make it work. So you have to use them at the right time. The bikes will also fall over because they're 2 wounds at toughness 4 with a 5+ save.
They stealth?
They have stealth.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
have stealth. But that's not going to help you in combat.
No, it's not.
And you can have an invulnerable save only in the shooting phase.
Yeah, I think you'd be more likely to try and sticky the center and then just throw them at your opponent to move block them.
That's what you do. You've understood it.
Hey. Okay.
You just get in the way. As soon as the bikes were created in 9th edition, people turn them sideways, have a long line of bikes, and you block the enemy. And that's how you use them.
Yeah, I could definitely see...
super fun, but yeah, it works.
I could definitely see this being an alternative way to get into the army cheap. I say cheap. The Rock Grinder is only 120 points, so it's not even that expensive, I suppose. But it's probably cheaper than buying a ton of infantry, I would guess. Is that bad?
You'd have to compare it, considering how many money pounds each individual truck is. You might be better off getting lots of acolytes. It's not quite that bad, but you can't have this many vehicles. The detachments are all very, very specialized, and so the army lists for each of them tend to look the same. So you'll have in this detachment 3 units of bikes, 3 rock grinders, if you want, a few trucks, and then the good stuff. So you've got the Ridge Runners, you're going to be led by Reductus Saboteurs, they're a really good character. You'll have some Pure Strain Genestealers, you'll have maybe some Acolytes. You've got some Metamorphs as an option, so you can put some things in trucks, but all of the lists look about the same. You can be creative, but it's not going to be advised. There's some detriment. These are solved detachments, if you want to think about it. You don't have to follow what other tournament players do. You have different models. You have a different playstyle. You can determine what the meta is, but they all are going to look very, very similar.
Yeah, I guess one thing I'll point out as well, I suppose, is for any British players out there that want to play this army, I suppose there's always the Combat Patrol magazine, because there was a lot of those going around and people weren't picking up the Genestealer cults ones, as far as I can tell.
So they have been resold. The Acolytes are really good to get, £10 for 5 models. The truck, unfortunately, comes over 2 sets, so it costs you £20 British, the finest of the King's coin, to get 1 truck. The bikes were a special edition, special one-off thing. So it was the Combat Patrol, the previous edition's Combat Patrol, the 9th edition Combat Patrol, the good Combat Patrol, and also the Jackal Bikers. But the Jackal Bikers got snipped up very quickly because £10 for the 5 bikers is exceptional value.
I suppose the truck for £20 is still less than half retail.
Half Games Workshop retail.
Yes, half Games Workshop retail. It's still 30% below 20%, 30% below secondary retail. So it's not bad.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, yeah.
Anyway, detachments. Any final thoughts on this one, other than it being OC vehicles?
Go watch my video on it. The next video, next detachment.
Was that one not out yet?
Oh yeah, no, that one's out.
That one's out. Okay, I've seen the next video. Okay, so we have Brood Brothers. This one, I know what it does. I assumed we
were going to go to Final Day. Final Day is the next video to do. But yes, Brood Brothers Auxiliate. Now this has a terrible detachment rule. It's a lot of hoops to jump through. You've got to have an Astra Militarum unit shoot. They have to be within 18 inches of the enemy. It
Right.
has to be visible, so you can't use artillery firing indirectly.
Oh,
They have
no.
to shoot all of their guns at that enemy unit,
Ooh.
so you can't be a tank and split fire.
Right.
And after you've done that, until the end of the phase, so just the shooting phase, Genestealer cult models get +1 to hit. We don't have exceptional shooting as Genestealer cult.
Does that
We're
make you
mildly boosting something, and you have to do a lot to make it better.
hit on 4s mostly, right? Or 5s? With like the heavy weapons?
4s and 5s, yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's not the greatest army rule, detachment rule I've ever seen.
If it was the other way around, that would be good.
It does feel like it should work both ways. Like it should be like after a National Military unit has shot something, Genestealer Colts get +1 to hit. After a Genestealer Colts shot something, and a National Military unit then gets +1 to hit. Or something along those
That
lines.
would be nice.
A bit like
That would be good.
is it the Reaper's Wager one, the Eldar one, where you sort of go back and forth between
Yeah,
the
it
two?
switches back and forth.
Yeah, something like that.
But they always get like reroll hit rolls of 1
Yes.
now. I think they updated it at some point.
Yeah, I think in that one it's you get rerolls of hit and wounds of 1 if you're losing the wager or something. But
That's right.
Something like that might have been more interesting here, I suppose.
Yeah, then the stratagems are not good. I said that the Biosanctic Brood Surge ones were, almost optional. These ones are just very difficult to use. 2 command points, and you can shoot at an enemy unit within engagement range of a Genestealer cult unit with 1 Astra Militarum unit, and then you may do some damage to the Genestealer cult unit. It's a lot of command points for someone who hasn't heard of falling back.
Yeah, that's not great. Wait, that's 2 CP?
No. That's 2 command points, yes.
Ugh. If it was 1, I'd understand using it, but ugh.
There's a dark network in the reinforcement step of the opponent's movement phase. When they set up a unit from reserve, if it's set up within 12 inches, your unit can move 6 inches. That sounds good and something I'd like to do at some point. I think I've got to use the stratagem 1 time.
I thought that would be more interesting if it triggered when something came into from reserves within line of sight or something.
Yeah, maybe. It also means that if the enemy doesn't have reserves, that's a stratagem you cannot use.
Yeah.
The Suppress and Overwhelm. It's in your shooting phase, and it stops the enemy firing Overwatch. When do you fire Overwatch, Astra?
Wait. Oh. What? I mean, usually in the movement phase, but I guess the logic is you shoot and then charge. But you don't have a
so you can stop the enemy. You can stop the enemy firing Overwatch.
Yeah.
In the charge phase, but they may just have done it in the movement phase.
This strat, I think, would make a lot more sense if you had more access to assault ramp, because then you'd move the transport, disembark out of line of sight, shoot, and then charge, or something. I don't.
Well, you have to have an Astra Militarum unit shoot.
Yeah.
To protect a Genestealer cult unit, so you use it potentially on a unit that's, I don't know. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
No.
Because you're not going to be not in line of sight in the movement phase, but at some point have entered line of sight before the charge phase.
Yeah,
So it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's a really odd one. I mean, reading through these, I feel like a lot of the time, if I was going to use most of these, I would just use grenade instead.
You're right.
Which is
The
a shame.
stratagems you use in this detachment are grenade and tank shock.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It is, however, a very fun detachment.
Yeah, it's like one of those ones where, with slightly better rules, it'd be really interesting. Like, a dark network could easily have been one of those strats, like the, what's the Custodes one in the Sisters detachment, where if you move over 9, you can react with 2 units as long as they're next to each other.
Yeah, something like that could be good.
Yeah, or they swap places or something weird, I don't know.
Yeah, swap places, castling might be a bit difficult.
Yeah, that is true.
In terms of how it would work on the table, but sure. It's fun because you get to bring the big tanks, and you get to play sort of an Imperial Guard army along with the Genestealer cult. So you've got good combat units with very disposable people, like Acolytes, like Metamorphs, like Pure Strain Genestealers, and you back that up with a Shadow Sword.
Yeah, they definitely can. I mean, how many points did a Shadow Sword? I'm guessing 400 or something? 300?
440.
Okay, so you could potentially fit 2 of them in there if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. 1 is usually enough.
Yeah.
It's brilliant for saying, oh yeah, you're playing this new Land Raider detachment. Pop.
Oh, Yeah, I mean, I would never expect this kind of detachment to be that good because it is ultimately a soup detachment, and Games Workshop seems to be very averse to leaving them being good whenever they are good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's not amazing. However, when we get to our final one, the final day,
Yes.
which is a soup detachment, that is really good.
Yeah, this one has seemed solid every time I've seen it. It doesn't seem bad. This is
You've got a lot of stuff you can do with the detachment rules. You can damage your own units, which has shenanigans for like leaving combat. You remove the units that are in engagement range, your unit is no longer in combat.
Yeah, because you like deal damage to a unit to heal another unit. Is that what I'm reading correctly?
That's right, that's right. And also, as long as the Tyranids are within 6 inches of an enemy, Genestealer cult units get +1 to hit. Now that is shooting phase and combat phase. There's a no Overwatch allowed enhancement. There's a get sustained hits if you're attacking an enemy within 6 inches of a Tyranid unit. And the stratagems are generally good. Resistance tunnels to remove any Genestealer cult unit or any Tyranid unit, not in engagement range, but anywhere on the battlefield, and put them into reserves. Avenge the Star Children, you lose a Tyranid character. All your Genestealer cult units get +1 to hit and wound against that enemy unit for the rest of the game. People have, at one point, Angron was going to kill Captain Flappy Bat, which is a winged Tyranid Prime, and chose not to because I had that stratagem.
It very much reminds me of that one Tau strat that's like you get hit and wound rerolls against the thing that kills your thing.
Mm-hmm. You may find that there's not a lot of uniqueness across the armies in 10th edition.
Say it, so just
Hyper-ferocity is another fun one.
Just a clarification here, because Wikipedia is not showing me it. What Tyranid units can you actually use?
Right, it's any Tyranid Vanguard Invader unit, but not Genestealers or the Broodlord.
Whoa.
So you're talking... Yeah, or aircraft. But I'm sure you could just put them in hover mode, but that would come after you started the game. So it is actually stopping you from using it this time, unlike in the Armored Spear tip.
Yeah.
So you've got characters as well. You can have Death Leaper. You can have Hyper-Adapted Raveners, which is a very good unit. You've got the Winged Tyranid Prime. Gargoyles, very good one because they can deep strike. They can shoot and then they move, and suddenly they are within 6 inches of the enemy for when your Genestealer cult unit attack. You got Lictors, you got Raveners, you got Von Carmian's Reapers. I mean, the Von Ryan's Leapers, yes. And you can have a Trigon or a Morlock, but generally don't, because in this detachment, the Tyranids become the utility pieces that support the army, and the Genestealer cult units are the damage dealers.
Oh, I guess there's also the newish hyper-adapted Raveners now. I've not seen those played in this yet since they came out, but it sounds interesting.
Oh, they're a staple of it.
Yeah, well, I've not played against this since those came out, to be honest, because again, Genestealer cult's not the most common army you run into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're great. Anti-vehicle, anti-monster 5+. There's a character there, so you can use the aforementioned stratagem. They have rapid ingress for free. They can do that even if another unit's going to rapid ingress. They have a decent gun. One D6 +3 strength 6 gun. There's a lot of wounds to get through. They've always got sustained hits. It's a good unit for like 165 points.
I mean, this one to me is one of the easier ones to evaluate. Like, it just gives a lot of good rules. It's just kind of a shame that the guard version of this doesn't have this level of effort put into the detachment rule. But
yeah, there's so many different combos you can do. You can see them relatively quickly, like Hyper-Ferocity. I can reroll all the wound rolls. I think I'll do that on the Genestealers with a Patriarch, because they have devastating wounds.
Yeah, no, that
things
makes
like
sense.
that. Yeah, I mean, there's like 3 stratagems you actually use. You often you look at a detachment and you're like, oh, I can use all 6 of those stratagems, and then it comes to the game and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to use these 2 over and over.
Yeah, I find that a lot. There's usually 1 or 2 that are like, this is the good one, I'll use it again. And then sometimes you remember the 6th one, you're like, I found a scenario where it's useful.
Yes. You maybe don't have the command point at that time.
No.
They're also like repeating ones. So you've got resistance tunnels, you can go back underground.
Yeah.
And you've got Divine Imperative. a Genestealer cult unit that's going to charge. If there's a Tyrannid unit in engagement range with that enemy, you get +1 to the charge roll, and you reroll the charge roll. So it's a very similar one, but with a slight tweak is when it happens.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how, interested, skeptical, they redo how allies work every edition. So like I said, in 8th edition, the Imperial Guard units were in the Genestealer Cult Codex, the ones you could take. So people would get like Sentinels and Leman Russes and heavy weapon teams. Then in 9th edition, you could take, much like this, some units from the codexes. So you could still have your Leman Russes. You could also then have a Carnifex in the same army. And then we got to 10th edition, and it's detachment-specific stuff. So maybe Final Day will be 2 points as a detachment, and Brood Brothers will be 1 point as a detachment, and then you can have both in the same army.
Yeah, and then you just have a list, and it's just a bunch of gargoyles and a Baneblade.
Yeah, I mean, if both of them are up to 50% of your army can be from these units, you don't need any Genestealer Cult units.
No.
Except you'll need a Warlord. I'm pretty sure both of them say you can't have a... Yeah, no Tyrannid units can be a Warlord. No Imperial Guard unit can be a Warlord. Because when they didn't have that rule, you could have the Brood Brothers Auxilia, but you had an all-Imperial army. Because you'd have an Inquisitor as the leader. You would have all Imperial Guard units. And you would ally in like a Knight or a Titan. Because as long as every unit in the army has the Imperium keyword, you can do that.
Yes. No, I've seen this. Yes.
Good. I also did a video on that back in the time when it was allowed.
Back in the day. I did something similar on my channel at one point back when I was starting out. So I tried to do a similar thing in, I think it was one of the AdMech detachments, and just make a list that is entirely allies, because then they still get the detachment rule, which was the Rad Zone bombardment.
Oh, yeah. It's not necessarily a good detachment rule.
It's not. But it's the only way you can get a detachment rule while not having any of the army rule bonuses normally.
I see.
But yeah, that's good. Final Day. I guess any general thoughts on Genestealer Cults in 10th edition and hopes for 11th?
Yes, and I have put it in a video, and yeah, of course. I mean, people come to me because, say the thing again, say the thing.
Say the
big hammer
bar.
lady, big hammer lady. Say it again. Right, Genestealer Cult have too many characters. I mean, the title of this video is What's Wrong with Genestealer Cult, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got about 15 characters, which is more than half the roster.
So what you're saying is you'd like another character in 11th edition?
We totally could do. Yeah, what, a bigger Abominant? Looking at it, there's nothing where I'm thinking, oh, we really need to expand in a particular direction. We've got all of the bases covered, sometimes multiple times over, and then we've split up the Acolytes into 2 separate units. And you also make the Metamorphs from the same box.
Yeah, I suppose... I'm trying to think of what you'd even give this army. Maybe something along the lines of what Votan and Guard got this edition, where you'd have the sort of medium-sized transport, because then you'd have like your sort of Rhino equivalent and then like a mini buggy kind of thing.
We are sort of like a Ridge Runner.
Shit, yeah. Is that a transport?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
If it was like the Votan, hey, it's the thing you've already got, but it's now half a canopy.
Yeah.
I'm not super looking forward to that. Just give us a limo. The cult limo. That's what people want.
Actually, no, you know what I would want? Give them like a construction vehicle. Like, give me like a crane.
Well, if it was like a big digger, we already have that in the Rock Grinder.
Oh, okay. Kind of,
Or if it's like, oh, we could have a heavy infantry where we have aberrants. If it's, well, if we had like a bigger one, something that's bigger than an aberrant, well, we have abominants, we have big hammer lady. And otherwise it's splitting up things we already have into 2 separate things. So the Primus and the Nexus are practically the same unit, but they've separated out the rules that other models in other factions would have altogether. Or you can get +1 to hit or reroll all hit rolls, and you can use a stratagem for 1 command point cheaper. Well, Genestealer Cult have those separated. We have the Biophagus and the Benefictus. Do you want lethal hits? Well, is it at range or in combat? Separate units. So I don't know really how we could expand with it. At this point, Mainly keeping the rules the same going into 11th edition would be fine. I don't want to have yet another army rule. I think the
No.
current army rule works well. It's got the idea of you are fighting an endless insurgency. Whenever you kill one, then more of them will fight, and it has a good mechanic for that. And it means you can play a massive horde without needing 200 models.
That's true.
You just have 100 models and some of them recycle.
I think for all the issues Games Workshop's had this edition, I think with this army rule in particular, they've definitely gone in the right direction with it. Like, it's gradually improved throughout from the state it started in, at least.
Yes. And we've had it for a year and a half. So maybe we can go a bit longer with that. And if the Genestealer Cult Codex is one of the last ones to come out, I mean, it was in 8th edition and 9th edition, not like the very last, but pretty late on. And then we got it quite early in 10th edition. So it may be a while till we get another one. There's going to be a big FAQ thing for like 11th edition saying, hey, here's how all the detachments work now. If we could get the Atalan Jackals updated at that point, that'd be good. If we could get the Benefictus's rule updated, it currently has a rule so that just for that model, once per game, it gets a 4+ invulnerable save.
Huge.
And it already has a 5+ invulnerable save.
I feel like I'd understand it more if it was like that One Sisters thing where it has the 2-up invuln.
The Canoness has the 2+ invulnerable save once per game. Yes. But getting a 4+, and it's not on the unit, it's just on the model.
Yeah, that's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
This is the big brain last time guy, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So an idea is to say, okay, we'll look at the Tyrannid range and we'll make more things that we have there, but in the Genestealer cult, you could have a unit of Benefictus, and it's kind of like the Zoanthropes. But that's where they come from. Or do we need a tunneling Genestealer cult? Well, we already have that. That's all of them.
Well, clearly what's missing from the Genestealer cult range is they should definitely have access to the old AdMech mining drill vehicle.
Well, we already have our own mining drill, but not a one that lets us deep strike. We have the tectonic frag drill.
Oh, I completely forgot about that, actually.
Stationary terrain piece.
Ah. Wait, is it a fortification?
It is a fortification.
I can't see it on Wikipedia. I'm like, where is it?
You need to use the cog symbol on settings and click show legends.
I see it.
Then
now.
you'll be able to see it. Which was also, I think, something I noticed for your last Jeopardy, where you were like, you know, these factions have this many data sheets. And I was thinking, no, the Dark Eldar have more than that. You just haven't counted the ones in the faction pack. Or only some of the ones in the faction pack.
No, I just did it.
Unit.
I mostly just did it off the mobile app for that one, which is part of the reason it's like that. Oh, this actually is just a terrain piece, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's quite
fun. There. If you charge it, it's got 6 attacks hitting on a 6.
It's on a 6.
And its unit rule is also done by the Icon Ward, who is less than half the price.
Wow, that's very funny, but there's no way to like give this deep strike or anything, is there? Or anything silly
it's
like
fortification,
that.
So even the rules on that are not necessarily clear in the core rules. You can't start in deep strike with a fortification. Whether or not you could use a stratagem to put it on it and then it could deep strike, I guess you could. The core rules say both, you know, you can't start in reserves, and then they have a bullet point saying fortifications cannot be in reserves, which is different. And is it a summary of the previous point, but reworded, or is it a new rule? Unclear.
Okay.
Don't do it.
I mean, I'll definitely be very curious. I mean, this is more talking about what we've had shown about 11 so far. I'll be very curious to see how the sort of different play styles for the detachments idea that they're going with is going to affect Genestealer cults, because they feel like an army that likes to do scoring style stuff a lot, unless you're playing like that drop big brick of dudes killer thing.
Yeah, so we might not do a lot of take and hold, but disruption definitely seems up there.
Yes, blowing up buildings seems very on brand.
Sabotaging things, yeah. And looking at the way cover's going to work, if it's -1 ballistic skill, that really affects us. Unless you're in the Host of Ascension, then you ignore the benefit of cover. So you'll be firing at normal ballistic skill into cover.
Right, well, that's more or less my last thoughts on that. Do you have any final thoughts here? A final day, if you will?
I have many, and this will continue. I've been doing a lot of Genestealer cult stuff recently on my channel, which I call Genuary, which only started in February. And I had plans. Plans got waylaid over Christmas. And then 11th edition stuff started coming out. So what was going to be a January month of Genestealer cult has been dragged across, and we'll finish it in May.
You could say it was a planned months in the making.
It was, and then it didn't turn out so well. So this is the great struggle.
The great struggle of Genestealer cult player. Well, thank you again for coming on, Christian. For everyone who's got this far, please go check out Christian's content. I'll put links down below to the stuff that he's mentioned, and I'm sure there'll be timestamps and stuff in the video as well. And likewise, please check out the rest of the series that I've talked about other people's armies in this series as well. So, thank you again, Christian. We'll see you all later. Bye.
Goodbye. Bye. Right, good.